Hello everyone, it's Darkseeker here again. Welcome back for another video, and I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. Here in the UK, it's a bank holiday weekend. That means a lot of us get Monday off of work, and you know, the weather is looking fantastic this weekend. Usually with bank holidays, the weather's terrible. It's miserable. You get rain, you get wind, you get no sunshine. But for this long bank holiday weekend, for once, the weather is actually forecast to be pretty good. So I'll take that, and that makes me really happy. Another thing that makes me really happy is this deck, KremePuff's Galakrond Shudderwock Shaman. Or should that be Shudderwock Galakrond Shaman? You all know my obsession with the Shudderwock, and this will be another video to add to the ever-growing playlist of Shudderwock videos. This deck got my attention because of Galakrond. I don't think I've ever played Galakrond in a Shudderwock deck before, if memory serves correct. I could be wrong, but certainly not done that recently. And I had forgotten what it was like to play Galakrond in a Shaman deck. So this deck has certainly reminded me of the power of Galakrond. When combined with the Shudderwock, it is pretty cool. Now, if you look at the structure of the deck, there's one big AoE, that is Flurgle and Toxfin. That's my favourite combo in all of Hearthstone. You've also got the Kronk's AoE as well, potentially, if you need it. But generally speaking, this deck is quite minion heavy. You do have, though, the rush minions that come out when you do the invocation of Galakrond. Those two ones are pretty useful when it comes to trading off against an aggressive opponent. But beyond that, there's none of the massive AoE that you typically see in a Shudderwock Shaman deck. So you do have to rely on these minions, and you need to get to the end game. And the idea is to ensure you can play the Shudderwock, replicating the Galakrond battle cry. So you get those 8/8s with Rush. That's really powerful. And when you can repeat the Galakrond battle cry again and again as you continue to play the Shudderwock, that's powerful. Let's not forget that when the Galakrond battle cry is replicated, you are gaining armor as well each time. So that's really good survivability against aggro decks. So all in all, really fun deck to play. You'll notice that there is a copy of Grizzled Wizard in this deck, but no Sir Finley to go with it. So why Grizzled Wizard on its own? Maybe we'll tackle that at the end of the video, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. But let's have a look at the deck now in action on the Wild Mode ladder, and our first game is against a warrior.
Victory or death! Fear the coming storm.
Okay, armor vendor, solid. Ancestral knowledge, solid. We'll say goodbye to Galakrond. Okay. We need to play a few more Galakrond cards first before we can play Galakrond himself. Oh, we replace Galakrond with the Shudderwock, of course.
Armor! Lightly used armor!
Alright. Mr. Warrior, or Mrs. Warrior, what have you got for us today?
Fly!
Oh, you got pirates. Interesting, did not attack with the weapon.
Break it, you buy it.
So can I assume that they are going to buff that weapon? We aren't going to be overloaded next turn, but we can still play the other armor vendors. Okay, the buff comes out as predicted. It's a pretty strong play for turn 3. A pretty strong board as well.
Armor! Lightly used armor.
And we're really penalised here with this overload effect.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
Or did it really matter? If we had 3 mana, what would we have done? Would we have devolved its board? Or would it just have been Armor Vendor hero power? I'm still at 34, including armor here. It's still a pretty good position to be in on turn 4 against an aggressive opponent. And now I have Flurgle and I have Toxfin. That's my game-winning play. I've just got to decide when to play it. And so I want maximum committal from the opponent. I want them to put down as many minions as possible. And actually, this looks like a pretty good board to destroy. We can add a 7th minion. That'll do. Now this is so strong. Dirty Rat protecting us here. And yeah, don't blame them for conceding. Alright, it's another shaman.
For Doomhammer, fear the coming storm.
So we throw away the Toxfin. 5-drop perhaps is a little bit too expensive here. But the Devolve could be useful. It depends on what we're facing. I don't see many shamans on the wild ladder. So I'm thinking Murlocs, maybe. It's not even shaman. Does anyone play even shaman anymore? So maybe it's a Shudderwock Shaman. Now to me that would be the most interesting matchup. If this was a more traditional version of Shudderwock Shaman especially. It'd be interesting to see how we pair up. Okay. Potentially nothing to do next turn because of this overload. Unless we get the Armor Vendor, in which case we're happy ice fishing. Interesting. Alright, that feels like a waste, but it's something to do. We get a 2-1 on board. It's the best I could hope for. Oh, wow. So, this has to be Shudderwock Shaman. Very, very interesting. And I think that more or less confirms it. Alright. That's slightly helpful. Maybe playing the rat there was a waste. Maybe this is my inexperience showing.
This is not what we stood for.
Oh, wow. This is going to be a very interesting game for sure.
Name, please? Come dance to my song.
Okay. So whilst you may think of this as a mirror matchup, it's not really a mirror matchup. The only big thing we have in common is we both play the Shudderwock. Beyond that, I'm Galakrond centric. So a lot of my cards are going to be different to the opponent's cards. But so far, so good. So does this come down to who plays the Shudderwock first? Is that what's at stake? Particularly when you know that there are dirty rats in the battle cry pool. So whoever Shudderwocks first in the late game has perhaps the potential to pull the opponent's Shudderwock from their hand. And if you get multiple Shudderwock turns, then you get multiple chances to pull the Shudderwock out of the opponent's hand. So, is that the plan? Oh dear. Now we've lost the Barista Battle Cry, right? Because it was pulled. by the Dirty Rat. So that could be problematic for us in the long term. And we have Polkelt here. We need to think about the right moment, the right time to play Polkelt. So remember, you play him, your deck is reordered. And one of the disadvantages of that card is that you do have cheap battle cries that are then at the bottom of your deck. But those battle cries are still pretty good, but because of Polkelt, you'll probably never draw them, or you won't draw them soon. So there are issues with Polkelt. That's interesting, but that's a big minion. That's still a big minion, damn it. Oh dear, I think I wasted my devolve. I'm too trigger happy. And I'm just playing Polkelt because I need a body on the board here. Don't even know if it's correct to play in terms of now what it's done to my deck. Should I have waited a bit longer? So I'm part of the For Doomhammer Discord server, and it's, I think, the only shaman-centric Discord server in existence that I'm aware of. Oh look, hello, Shudderwock, as expected.
It is wisdom you lack.
And on that server, you will see people talk about Polkelt. And the logic being that in a normal Shudderwock deck, Polkelt is just not good enough. He's not good. Because of how he stacks your cards. And how you lose access to those cheap early battle cries, those cheap cards, like the Armor Vendor. But in a deck like this, well, it gives you Galakrond. And this is pretty good in this situation here. Two of these 8/8s on the board, weapon equipped, armor gain.
None can withstand the tempest.
Galakrond is letting me come back into this game. So if it wasn't for Polkelt, would I have got Galakrond? That's the question.
Your wish is my
Or would I just be overwhelmed by my opponent's board with me only drawing Grizzle Wizards and Toxfins that I can do nothing with? Oh wow. Oh, that's just destroyed their board. Okay. I like Kronks here.
too late. His return is nigh.
If we go with 5 damage, we don't have to tank it then. I think that's important. I'm going to hold on the weapon. Maybe something useful we can swing into. But it feels like the race is slowly becoming a bit tighter here. We have our Galakrond in hand, we just need to think about when to pull the trigger. We know the order of cards to come. So we have the deck list there on the right hand side. So it's our 5 drops next.
Double the power, double the storm.
And looking at what my opponent has played, there's been some pretty interesting battle cries played, but they've not played Grumble yet.
Double the power, double the storm.
These 2 odds are pretty annoying actually for the opponent to deal with. They don't look like much, but if you get enough of them on the board, there is the potential for chip damage to the face, and they do trade in nicely with certain things. That's pretty good. Okay, opponent is taking this nice and slow here. Alright. And I'm swinging face here because I can smell victory with this board. And if the board goes, maybe I can play the Shudderwock. If I play the Shudderwock, I get that weapon back. And I can swing again. So here we go. Okay, we get the 8/8s. Oh, we do the face damage. That's beautiful. And there's their Shudderwock. Not that it matters. Yes, so whoever plays the Shudderwock first probably wins the game.
Justice will decide this.
Fear the coming storm.
Okay. This is going to be looking like a buff aggro paladin. We run Devolve in this deck, which is going to be helpful against them, but we don't run any other big AoEs apart from the Toxfin Flurgle combo. There's no Hex in this deck. There's no Volcano, for instance. So double Devolve is going to have to win this for us, I think. Alongside Flurgle and Toxfin, of course. The question is, how quickly can they get their minions down? How quickly can they buff their minions? I think that's the question here. Okay. That's fine. Doesn't seem threatening. The thing to consider here is, would you ever ponder Dirty Rat? Or is that just too dangerous? Maybe I should have ratted there. Because maybe the rat would have pulled out their buff minion there. No, this doesn't feel great. And that trade doesn't feel great. I don't think I should have done that. I think I should have gone face. Because now I'm scared to play the rat, because it'll pull out a buffed minion. Oh dear lord. Huh. Well, that's a bit awkward. Don't know if that's correct. Don't know if I should have killed the 1/4. We're still okay from a health perspective, and we've got a bit of fuel still to come here.
Come dance to my song.
But what I am looking for is Toxfin and Flurgle combo. That is what I need to feel safe and secure. We saw the work earlier that Flurgle and Toxfin did against the Pirate Warrior. It was an instant concede after that combo got played. Somehow, I don't think we're going to get that concede from the Paladin. I think as long as the Paladin has got some gas left in the tank with some buffed minions, they will persist. They will carry on. And I'm just going to put as much on the board as I can here. I've not played the ice fishing. I don't want to reveal that I've got the Toxfin Flurgle combo, right? Because then they may play conservatively. I want the opponent to fill the board with as much stuff as possible. God, that's a 6/6. Yikes, that would normally be a 1/1 body. That's pretty nuts. Do I want to reveal the Toxfin Flurgle combo here? I don't think so, right? It's too early still. And so, I'm going to play Galakrond, but only with the 4/4s. Because I feel that's all I could do. It cleared a portion of the board.
May the light grant you peace. May the light grant you
Interesting.
peace.
Lotheb here is annoying. But Kronks... Kronks clears most of the board. And our hero power finishes off the rest of the board. This is pretty good. I can't believe we're going into their turn 8 and I'm still at 37 health, including armor. I think it's pretty impressive. We've been able to withstand their onslaughts so far. But they've got a lot of resources in hand. They've got a lot of gas left in the tank. And so I will need to be incredibly selective about my Flurgle Toxin combo. Alright, they get rid of the Divine Shield. That's good for me. That is good for me. Okay. I think we just go all in now. That's decent. That's a really good pull. That was a charge minion. So, feeling good about this. I could have waited another turn, but I'm just worried about them buffing the board, buffing stuff in their hand again, and then charging my face. It's a concern. So I think this was fine here. I think this is fine.
Accidents, they happen, you know.
That's really annoying. But I still feel somewhat safe behind that taunt.
Double the power, double the storm.
And I can't believe it. We are actually dominating this game now. This hero power is pretty good. Invoking Galakrond here with these 2/1s is doing some serious work. And now I'm thinking Polkhelt, because then I'll get the Shudderwock. And there's Devolve for a big board, a buffed board that gets played. Oh dear. Oh, hello. Sherizan.
Welcome to
This is interesting.
Don't worry, love.
Oh, charge minion. Buffs on the board. Oh my goodness. They're going all in here. Okay, draw first. Let's see what we get. Oh, another devolve. Well, I think that's more or less game over. Yeah, no resources left. We were able to withstand the onslaught and finish at 37 health, including armor. Alright, joining this game in progress, it's a warlock.
Sky's fury.
Now, this is quite a commanding board they've got. They played N'Zoth, which means that Gul'dan is probably soon to come.
Sky's fury!
Get out of my city!
Return is nigh.
And I think this is my best play. We just gotta wait for the inevitable Gul'dan. Well, that's a bit of a problem. Another N'Zoth could be disastrous for us, actually. The end is coming. Okay, they want a clear board so they can play N'Zoth again.
I ain't talking!
Well, we've just ruined their plans. Feels pretty good. We're nearly out of cards. Our deck tracker is broken here. So apologies for that. However, what we're doing is we are working our way into a Shudderwock turn. I'm wholly expecting Gul'dan to come down. There it is. A zero cost evolve to go with a Shudderwock, I think is the play. Okay, here we go. Let's see what we get. That's fine. Let's see if the Shudderwock can help us recover. Now, you'll notice the Grizzled Wizard battle cry. We stole the hero power. We can't use it. However, we've given them my hero power. That means on their next turn, they can't do the 3 damage and the 3 lifesteal. That's actually really relevant in a situation like this where health totals are quite low. The act of stealing their hero power, exchanging with my hero power, I'm really happy with that. Prophet Velen scares the hell out of me. So I'm going to tank 7. I don't know if it's correct. But I just feel like bad things are going to happen if I leave Prophet Velen on the board. Right. We're not out of the woods yet, though. I don't think they can get through this taunt. It's an 8-8. They haven't got the board pressure for it. I'm going to assume there's nothing in hand they can do. But our health totals are still pretty far apart.
My hunger grows.
Our opponent is very healthy, and I'm not very healthy. And I'm taking fatigue damage. So the question still remains, can the Shudderwock, and maybe repeated Shudderwocks, still allow me to win the game? I think that's the question. And I think the answer is yes. So I really want to emote, but I'm going to resist. Because emoting is not very nice. And we like to be nice. But we've done a pretty good job so far, surviving to this point against our opponent. And now I will emote because I want them to hurry up. I think they genuinely do not know what to do here. I think they know that this game is slipping away from them. The Shudderwock on that last turn did work out very well for us. Oh my goodness, Plague of Flames! And they hero power, nice. Alright, well we do it all over again. They get their hero power back. But we're going to steal that hero power again and give them our hero power. Okay, armor. We really, really want the 8/8s. Maybe I should have swung with the weapon first. Before playing the Shudderwock. Because I had one charge left previously. This was not so good. We didn't get the 8/8s. And we didn't get a good Kronk's effect. So this is definitely weaker. However, we have one more go of the Shudderwock in hand.
I'm almost out of cards.
And the fact that they're nearly out of cards means that we've done a good job of keeping up. Of trying to outlast them. This damage is not very nice though. Okay, here we go. One more time. Okay, steal that hero power. It's really important. We don't want to be taking the 3 damage to the face. That's amazing. Clears the board. And we get the 8/8s. Absolutely beautiful. Can we get Barista? We do. That's so important. Alright.
I'm out of cards.
We don't have any room on the board, though, to play another Shudderwock. So we need the opponent to play something here on the board.
I ain't talking.
Interesting. I guess they could have hero powered, traded in, and then used the rat to pull a Shudderwock from my hand. But maybe that's not a good thing either. Because you're putting a 6/6 on the board. Alright, one more time. The key thing is we're gaining this armor, which is putting us out of range of a fatigue lethal. Sure, our opponent gains armor too, but we take away their hero power, and we maintain a big board, and we can keep whacking them in the face. Although, actually, wait a second. Mal'Ganis and N'Zoth. That's a lot of damage. But we're still fine, right? Despite the fatigue damage that we're taking, I think we're still fine. How much do we take here? Okay, 4. That's close. That was close. Wow. Whew.
Thrall versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine. I will bring freedom to the Horde.
Okay. So it's time for a warlock. Another one. One chain gang seems reasonable to keep. Do I ever want to keep both? I'm not sure. I guess there are other things I'm looking for if it's a warlock, right? I want Devolve in case there are Void Callers that are played. Potentially also want Ice Fishing. So I'm not sure about this, to be honest. Okay, this is fine. We have a 1 into a 2. It's pretty decent. We'll be overloaded on 3, and then on 4, we've got 2 choices. I'd say it's pretty good.
Armor! Armor! Lightly used armor!
Your soul shall suffer.
Ooh, our soul shall suffer.
I am grateful.
Break it, you buy it.
Okay. Some pretty good options in our hand here. Power overwhelming. Huh. So is this some kind of OTK potential here? Is this what Darkglare Warlock does now? Are we just going to be dead next turn? Are they just going to flood the board with giants? There's a giant. There's a giant. There's a giant. Another one. Calm down.
Is that food? I need it.
Oh dear. Oh gosh. Well,
Your soul shall suffer.
they know what's coming. Apparently my soul is gonna suffer because of this. Flurgle Toxfin combo. I'm such a fan of this. I think it allows Shudderwock Shaman to be competitive in these kinds of situations where you're going up against what is essentially a tier 1 deck. Granted, it's a hard to play tier 1 deck, Darkglare Warlock. It's not easy to pilot. But if we didn't have Flurgle on that turn with Toxfin, we'd just be dead. So it really is allowing us, you know, to compete. Now, whether we can keep up as the game goes on is another question.
You here for the tour?
Because that's our big AoE gone now. It's unclear whether we have the ability now to survive. Although, all of the giants have been played, right?
Come dance to my song.
So, we should be in with a good chance, maybe. Oh my goodness, that's a boar. And I assume that has something to do with power overwhelming, perhaps, charging to the face. Interesting. We may just have to play Galakrond next turn. It's a very weak Galakrond, but we may just need the rush minions to contest something that they play.
So
Haven't heard of
Oh, that's a bit scary. Goodness. They're going to play 2 Solariums here. That's a lot of card draw. It's turn 8, and they've pretty much drawn nearly their entire deck. Wow.
out of cards.
Nearly out of cards. And somehow I'm thinking, am I dead? Okay. Don't think we are. However, okay, that's a bit of a relief. So, Galakrond with some 2/2s. I don't know what that's gonna really do, if enough. Okay. The key thing is we kill the giant. We gain 5 armor. I mean, it's so useful. And now, what do we want to prioritize on killing? I'm going to leave Dark Glare up. I'm viewing Dark Glare as a less threatening minion compared to Tamsin. Okay. Going for board presence. Going wide. However, I think we are safe now from power overwhelming shenanigans, right? Because that stone tusk boar was pulled out of their hand. Okay. Can work with that. And now we just mop up. It's pretty good. These rush minions. Super useful here. And that's it. Wow. We beat a Dark Glare warlock. Alright. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of KremePuff's Galakrond Shudderwock deck? This is a really fun deck. It has performed much better than I expected. Now, keeping in mind I was playing on the Legend ladder, and things can be a bit weird on the Legend ladder. I see fewer Secrets Mages, for example, on the Legend ladder compared to maybe the Diamond ladder, where Secrets Mages were everywhere. I feel that on the Legend ladder, people seem to be letting loose a bit, having a bit more fun, particularly at my rank on the Legend ladder, right? It's quite a low rank. So I guess people were more keen to sort of enjoy themselves a bit. Fewer Secrets pages. Maybe people would try harding a little bit less. And I think that's allowed me to have a little bit more fun with this deck, as opposed to being frustrated. So all in all, super fun deck to play. I really appreciate the end game pressure that this deck can put out if the Shudderwock is able to be played multiple times, thus repeating the Galakrond battle cry multiple times. You get the armor gain, which I think is critical to avoid dying to fatigue. You get those 8/8s potentially, and you get the weapon, which is a lot of damage, and you can actually equalize against your opponent, particularly if you start off your Shudderwock turn at low health. You can slowly build your armor up to help you survive, and then you can just start whacking their face turn after turn after turn with that 5 attack weapon, and as I say, start to equalize things with your opponent. What you are reliant on though is you're reliant on the Barista battle cry to get Shudderwocks back to hand, so you can keep replaying it. Although there are situations, I think, where just one instance of the Shudderwock filling the board with those 2 8/8s and a few 2/1s that can rush, I think that can just sometimes be enough to take control of the board, give you the advantage going into the following turn, and your opponent can't compete with your board, particularly if that is comboed with an appropriate Kronk's battle cry that gets replayed. You could just be looking at a win the following turn without the need to replay the Shudderwock again. That's just something to keep in mind. So thank you very much for joining me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've really enjoyed playing this deck. I will see you all again very soon for more Wild Mode fun. But until next time, please look after yourselves. Please stay safe. And as always, please be good to one another.